Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment. And we'll give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today, we got a serious report that we want to get into. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So, as you guys know, going into this All-Star weekend that just passed, there was a lot of conversation about a lot of the things plaguing the NBA. Of course, the weekend itself, which had been an abysmal disaster over the last few years. You had people talking about tanking, if that was an issue, load management, that's another issue. So it was just a lot of drama surrounding the NBA product. Now, coming out of that weekend, the NBA got some good news because it was the most watched All-Star game in the past 15 years, pulling in 8.8 million people. So it worked. Now, I don't know if that also means that because it was, the Worldverse. So I don't know if there were people watching globally as well. I don't know how they came up with those numbers there, but a lot of people tuned in. But that doesn't mean that even with the great viewership, it didn't stop people from criticizing the league. People were on ESPN yesterday complaining about tanking. I heard Chris Mad Dog Russo going after Mark Cuban with the comments that he made. So it's been a lot. But then late last night, Mitch sent over an article from The Ringer, and the headline of the article says the following: "The cracks in Adam Silver's NBA are spreading fast." I'm like, this would be an interesting article and read to get into today. But before we even get into it, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, PrizePicks. PrizePicks is a daily fantasy app where you pick more or less on player stat projections. And if you get your pick right, you could cash in. Right now, they're giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5. For example, this week I'm picking Victor Wembanyama for 35 points, and I'm also picking Stephen Curry to hit 4 threes. It's always very exciting and gets me all more amped watching the game. Make sure to check if PrizePicks is available in your state today. It probably is. They are available in 50 states. They also just dropped early payouts, so if your player gets off to a hot start, you can cash out before the game even finishes. Pick from all your favorite sports, anything from basketball, baseball, hockey, UFC, soccer, college basketball, tennis, golf, esports, and more. And with the new social feeds feature, you can share PrizePicks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. Copy lineups you like or use them as inspiration for your own picks. Download the PrizePicks apps today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks is good to be right. All right, let's continue on. It says Adam Silver tipped off the latest All-Star weekend, as he does every All-Star weekend, with a little techno wizardry at the NBA's Tech Summit, an invite-only gathering of leagues, execs, agents, sponsors, movers, shakers, and varied VIPs. With the assistance of naturally influencer named Jesse or Jesser, the commissioner rolled out POV mode, an AI-powered feature that would allow fans to view games in real time through the point of view of any player on the court. For a few dazzling moments, everyone in the YouTube theater auditorium became the Dallas rookie Cooper Flag as he flicked a mid-range jumper over Charlotte's Mousse Diabate. The massive digital screen showed Flag's arms and hands in front of us as they were his own. Neat. Except all the players on the screen looked like robots with gray, faceless orbs for heads, and the arena background was dark, devoid of fans. It looked more like the 20th century video game than a 21st century NBA game. But POV mode was, well, sort of cool, I guess. Silver seemed to think so, or at least he did a commendable job of reciting his lines and putting on a gee whiz smile after he watched his pal Jesser explain it all. So this is all what we're going to be able to do in real time, Silver said, feigning childlike wonder as the cartoon robots with real-world player names ambled around a virtual Mavericks home court. And then the article then goes on to then begin to highlight. Yeah, this article, the language is a little bit too colorful for me. I don't have the energy for this. But anyway, it was talking, what I read it later on, it was talking about some of the issues that the NBA is facing. Look, guys, the NBA is in a very interesting place. For me, as someone that followed the sport, that has been following the sport for over 25 years now, it's not the same feeling I had when I was younger watching as a fan as I do now as an adult that's a fan of the sport. Things have certainly changed. Obviously, the play style has changed. The mentality of players have changed. The league has become more and more and more about money and less and less and less and less about fans. There was a comment that was made yesterday by Chris Mad Dog Russo that really stood out to me, where he was getting at Mark Cuban, who was openly promoting tanking. And he said that if you're going to be tanking, are you going to be giving away discounts for the games that people pay full price to attend? And I'm like, that's a very good point. He brings up, so the point he was trying to make is that, look, man, you guys don't give a damn about the fans anymore. And I think that the fans need to finally understand, like, I think fans are too emotionally invested in what these guys are doing. Oh my God, they don't give a damn. They don't give a damn. I think we've passed that stage at this point. I hate to sound like a cynic or whatever, but we're past that stage. You hear these guys talk. We're past that stage at this point. I think if you're an NBA fan, you should look for what excites you and just focus on that. We're not going to go back to a league where it's balanced and we're playing offense and defense. We're not going to have that. You're not going to see any star players competing in the slam dunk contest. We're not going to have that. Players are now going to be shooting for the 65-game minimum to ensure that they can qualify for the Supermax contract. That's where the bar has been set. Now, some people will say, hey, man, well, if 65 games is enough, then why don't we just reduce the games? No one is going to reduce the games because it means you're going to reduce the revenue, and they're not going to do that. So players want to get paid even for games that they're not playing in. This is the new reality that we find ourselves in. And I think the sooner that fans come to that realization, the better off they will be. We're not going back to the good old days. It's over. Now, if you want to watch the games, you're going to have to pay for various streaming platforms. I had to watch the All-Star game on Peacock, right? A service I would otherwise never subscribe to. I subscribed to it for that particular event, right? So this is the new world we're in. And I feel like even if we complain, nothing is going to happen. There have been so many critics in the world of media and the sports media that have been critical of Adam Silver, but yet and still he's still there every day. And I don't see the governors of each team getting rid of him because they just signed, I believe it was a $77 or $70 billion TV deal for the next 10 years, if my memory serves me right. They're not going to get rid of him because he's making them so much money. And the product is going to be what it's going to be. It's a shame to say, but this is where we are, right? So I would just tell fans, man, look, watch the games, try to enjoy the games, but remove your emotions from it. I think people get too emotionally, and it's sports. I understand it's very hard to divorce the emotional side of yourself to this, but to me, man, look, it's just a new reality. There are barely any stories I care about at this point in the season. I mean, I'm waiting for the playoffs. If there's some teams that I'm interested in playing in that are going to be in the playoffs, then I'll watch. But the regular season, who cares? Honestly, I'm just being honest with you. They try to overhype it on ESPN and other platforms, but come on, man, these games are not exciting anymore. We know that. Here and there, you'll get an exciting game or an exciting performance, but for the most part, we're just all going through the motions. That's certainly where I am in terms of my mentality looking at this thing right now. Just giving you an honor. You saw before, I used to get really riled up and, I'm not doing that anymore. It's not worth it. It's just not, it's not worth it to me. I'll talk about it, but that whole love, these guys have shown that they don't have the love that we as the fans have, so I don't have the love for them. That's how I see it. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts in the comments and we catch you on the next show. Peace.